Everyone in Benin City loved Mama O's. Her food tasted like magic, and her smile eased every worry. But the city shared a secret. Nobody had ever seen her buy ingredients. No matter how many plates she served, those pots never ran empty. The elderly men warned that something dark was in her food. They said, no matter what you hear, no ever enter that back room after dark dot. They said if night caught you there, your own shadow wouldn't follow you home. This is the story of the student who heard a whisper and saw the darkness within. Benin City had its own rhythm, one born from smoke, noise, and the sizzling of street food on every corner. From dawn till late night, the streets throbbed with life. Women flipped plantain over charcoal grills, men fanned suya flames till sparks danced in the air, and the aroma of pepper soup drifted through the market like a promise. But if you asked anyone, from taxi drivers to bankers, from motorcycle riders to students, where the best food in Benin was, they would all point to the same place. A tiny kiosk on Igun Street. A kiosk belonging to a woman called Mama O's. It was small, almost embarrassingly so. A wooden shed with a zinc roof that rattled during Harmattan, a faded umbrella shading a makeshift table, and a hand-painted banner that always looked like it was about to fall. O's special, good food, good life. Yet from morning till night, people lined up like worshippers at a shrine. Her jollof, people swore it tasted better than party rice at a billionaire's wedding. Her pepper soup, they said it healed fevers. Her suya, it made grown men close their eyes and hum like children. Everyone loved Mama O's, her warm laugh, her motherly smile, her gentle voice. She was the kind of woman who made you feel safe, who touched your shoulder and somehow eased your worries. But there was something else. A quiet fear. Nobody had ever seen her buy ingredients. Nobody had ever seen her cook. Her food never finished, even when crowds tripled during festivals. No matter how many plates she served, her pot stayed steaming, full and ready. People talked, but only when they were far away from her stall. She has powers, a taxi driver once whispered. That woman never gets tired, a trader muttered. There is something in her food. I don't know what it is, but it's there, an elderly woman insisted. But the moment anyone got close to her stall, their suspicions melted into hunger. One whiff of her cooking and logic vanished, and that was why her stall never lacked workers, except they never lasted long. One day, a new boy showed up. He looked tired, skinny, and desperate. His name was Igosa, a polytechnic student from Ugbowo, struggling to pay his school fees. He'd grown up rough, raised by a widowed mother who sold vegetables in New Benin Market. Money was never enough. Food was never guaranteed. Education was a luxury he fought for daily. So when he saw the help wanted cardboard sign at Mama O's stall, he didn't hesitate. He greeted her with shaky respect. Good afternoon, Ma. She turned, her face glowing with that familiar warm smile. Do you want to work, my son? Yes, Ma. Anything. I can wash plates, serve food, clean, anything. She placed her hand on his shoulder, her touch soft and strangely cold. You will work well. I can see it in your eyes. Just like that, he was hired. That first day, he noticed how things worked. Rule 1. No worker stayed past 9 p.m. Rule 2. Nobody entered the back room behind the stall. Rule 3. If Mama said move, you moved. If she said stop, you stopped. Nobody questioned anything. The other workers, a thin boy named Francis and a quiet girl named Iriosa, avoided talking about the back room. Whenever Igosa asked innocent questions like, where does Mama get ingredients? They simply shrugged. Mind your work, Francis always answered. But the customers, they behaved differently. A man in a suit once rushed to the stall sweating and shaking. Hurry, please serve me quickly. My body feels strange. He devoured his food with the desperation of someone starved for days, then relaxed instantly, like someone had flipped a switch. Another woman came twice in one afternoon, claiming she just needed one more plate to feel normal. Even children seemed unusually drawn to the food. But the strangest moment came one evening around 8:45 p.m. Closing time was near. The customers had gone. The lanterns flickered. The stall was quiet except for distant traffic. That was when Igosa heard it. A soft humming coming from the back room. Not a human humming. It sounded layered. like several voices humming at once, deep, vibrating, almost like a chant. He froze. Irresistible was sweeping nearby. Her broom stopped mid-stroke. She whispered without looking at him, "Don't go near that place." "What?" "Don't ask. Just stay away." Her voice trembled, and that scared him more than the humming. Later that night, as he walked home, the humming replayed in his head. The way the workers avoided any talk about it. The way her food never finished. The way customers acted like addicts. Something wasn't right. The next day, the warnings became clearer. Old Papa Aramosele, a man who had been around the stall longer than any worker, pulled him aside. "Listen to me carefully," he said, his eyes sharp and serious. "No matter what you hear, no matter what you think, never enter that back room after dark." "Why?" The old man's lips pressed into a thin line. "There is darkness inside, and darkness does not like visitors." Then he walked away. The words stuck to Agosa's skin like cold water. Never enter after dark. Never. But the more they warned him, the more curious he became. And curiosity has a way of turning into obsession. From the moment Agosa arrived the next morning, he noticed something different in the air. The workers moved faster. Customers ate more hungrily. Even Mama O's seemed unusually watchful, her eyes following him whenever he passed. But nothing unnerved him as much as the humming. It started faintly each evening, just around sunset. A low, pulsing vibration coming from the back room. It made the zinc roof tremble slightly. It made the lantern flames flicker. Sometimes it made the ground feel like it was breathing. He told himself he didn't care. He told himself he only needed money for school fees. But telling himself and believing himself were two different things. By the fourth evening, his curiosity had turned into something sharper, something restless. That night, while washing plates, he noticed Francis staring at the backroom door with fear in his eyes. "Do you hear it?" Francis whispered. "Hear what?" Agosa asked, pretending not to know. Francis swallowed nervously. The people inside. Cold washed through him. "People?" Francis blinked rapidly, like someone who had said too much. "I mean, Mama. And the things she keeps." "What things?" But Francis grabbed a tray and hurried off. Later, a regular customer, a middle-aged man with a potbelly, rushed in shaking violently, his hands trembling as he gripped the table. "Please, serve me the pepper soup quickly." When he tasted the food, his body relaxed instantly. Agosa watched him closely. This wasn't hunger. It was withdrawal. And the more he observed people, the more he realized the same pattern. Shaking hands, rushed breathing, unnatural desperation, immediate calm after eating. Something was binding these people to the food, something beyond spice and recipe. One night, after serving the last plate, Irresistible hurried to pack up. "We have to leave now," she whispered sharply. "We cannot stay long." "Why?" Agosa pushed. She froze. Then said something he would never forget. "If night catches you here, your shadow will not follow you home." She left running. But Agosa stayed behind. He had to. He needed answers. Around 10 p.m., the street grew quiet. The last lantern flickered. The humming began again. Louder this time, deeper, almost chanting. He approached the backroom door carefully. His heart hammered. Sweat beaded on his brow. The air felt colder around the door. He could see his breath. The humming grew louder. His hand trembled as he reached for the handle. A voice behind him whispered sharply, "Don't touch it." He spun. It was Papa Aramosele. The old man's eyes were wide with fear. "If you open that door, you will not remain the same." "What is inside?" Agosa demanded. Papa Aramosele swallowed hard. "There are spirits in there that take what does not belong to them. If you open that door, you will be the first thing they see." His voice cracked. "Leave here now." But the warnings only inflamed the fire in his belly. So he lied. "Okay, sir. I am leaving." He walked past the old man, turned the corner, pretended to leave. But he didn't. He slipped quietly back. He waited until the old man's footsteps faded. Then he returned to the back room. The humming felt like it was inside his bones. His fingers hovered over the door. And then he pushed. The door creaked open. Just an inch. Just enough. Warm, thick air spilled out, smelling of pepper, and something metallic. Inside, he saw movement. A shadow. Then another. And another. His heart leaped into his throat. Something in the darkness turned toward him. and he slammed the door shut instinctively. He stood there panting, shaking, staring at the wood as the humming abruptly stopped. Dead silence. Then, a soft, whispering voice from inside. "Who is there?" He ran. He didn't pick his bag. He didn't say goodbye. He didn't think. He just ran. And the darkness behind the door laughed softly. For the first time since he started working at the stall, Igosa didn't return the next day. He lay on his thin mattress in his hostel, staring at the ceiling, feeling the whisper echo in his skull. Who is there? His roommates noticed he hadn't eaten. They offered bread, noodles, akara. He shoved everything away. Food felt wrong in his mouth. Water made him nauseous. By evening, his stomach twisted painfully, like something was clawing inside. He didn't sleep. On the second day, he vomited every bite he forced himself to swallow. His eyes sank into their sockets. He shook violently at random intervals. His roommates panicked. "Are you sure you do not have malaria?" one asked. "We should go to the hospital," another insisted. But Igosa knew this wasn't sickness. This was withdrawal. He craved something. Not food. Mama Osa's food. The thought disgusted him, but his body screamed for it. By the third day, his vision blurred. His throat felt dry. His bones ached. That was when the dream started. He dreamt of figures stirring giant pots. Of hands, too many hands, mixing thick, yellowish liquid. Of voices humming in unison. Of Mama O smiling at him with teeth too sharp to be human. He woke up in terror. By afternoon, he couldn't breathe properly. His heart pounded irregularly. He knew he was dying. His body had been tied to something he didn't understand. And that's when he remembered the whispers from the back room and the shadows. He needed help, real help. Not prayers. Not medicine. Something deeper. So he took the last money he had and boarded a rickety bus toward a remote village on the outskirts of Benin City. One his late grandmother had once spoken of, a place of old herbalists. The road was rough, dusty, and strangely empty. When he reached the last stop, the conductor stared at him. "Are you sure you are going here?" "Yes," he whispered. He walked down a narrow path until he found a small mud hut surrounded by tall grass. The door creaked open before he could knock. An old herbalist stepped out. Dark eyes, weathered skin, a silence that felt heavy. "You are carrying something that does not belong to you," the man said, without being told anything. Igosa fell to his knees. "Help me." He told the herbalist everything, the humming, the back room, the shadows, the cravings. The man listened quietly. Then he lit a bundle of herbs and placed it over a steaming pot. Thick white smoke filled the room. "What Mama O's is doing is not cooking," the man began. "It is feeding." "Feeding what?" Igosa whispered. "A spirit that demands offerings. Her food is not ordinary food. It carries essence." Essence. A word that made his skin crawl. "She mixes human fluids with ancient ingredients," the herbalist continued. "Things that bind the soul and body together." A shiver ran down his spine. He remembered the metallic smell in the bowls. "And everybody who has eaten it," the herbalist added, "has given a small piece of their soul." "Can I break the curse?" The herbalist looked him dead in the eyes. "You must make her taste her own food." Igosa froze. "She does not eat her own food?" he asked shakily. "She cannot," the herbalist replied. "If she eats it, the spirit will claim her directly." His voice lowered. "But if she tastes her food, everyone she has bound will be free, including Igosa." He swallowed hard. "How do I do it?" "That is your battle." The herbalist pressed something into his hand, a small charm woven from black thread. "This will protect you for one night only. After that, if you fail, you are gone." Igosa trembled. But he didn't run. He didn't cry. He only nodded once, slowly. He had no choice. He had to go back. He had to face Mama O's. And he had to make her eat her own food. When he returned to Benin City, the roads felt darker. The air felt heavier. He walked toward Igon Street feeling like he was marching to war. The cravings were unbearable now. His stomach twisted so hard he almost collapsed. Sweat drenched his shirt. His legs shook. Every step felt like punishment. But he pushed on. When he finally reached the stall, it was already buzzing. Customers shouted orders. Sweat glistened on foreheads. Pots bubbled loudly. And there she was, Mama O's, smiling, stirring, like nothing had happened, like she didn't own the darkness behind that back room. When she saw him, she squealed happily. "Ah, my son, you have returned." Her smile was wide, too wide. Her teeth glistened unnaturally. "Yes, ma," he forced out. "You look thin. It seems you have not eaten. Come, let me serve you a little." "No," he said quickly. "I want to serve the customers first." She studied him for a moment, eyes narrowing slightly. Then she shrugged and returned to her pot. He scanned the stall carefully. He had observed something during his weeks there. Mama O's never drank water from the cups, never drank sachet water like everyone else, never tasted the stew. She only drank from one blue plastic bottle she always carried. Her private bottle. Always with her. Always sealed. Never shared. That was his opportunity. When she stepped away to serve 2 customers outside the shed, the bottle sat alone on the counter. This was it. His only chance. His palms shook violently as he unscrewed the bottle cap. He dipped a spoon into the bubbling pot of pepper soup and poured a small amount into her bottle. His sweat dripped onto the counter. His heart hammered so loudly he feared everyone could hear it. He wiped the bottle's rim, closed it tightly, put it back exactly the way he found it. Then he moved away, forcing himself to breathe. The charm in his pocket felt warm, almost hot. The herbalist's voice echoed in his memory. If she tastes her own food, the spirit will claim her immediately. Now all he had to do was wait. But waiting proved torture. Minutes passed. An hour. 2. Customers kept coming. Pots kept bubbling. Mama O's kept smiling and shouting orders. Every time she reached for her bottle, his breath stopped. But she only moved it out of her way. His stomach nodded painfully. His hands trembled. His body screamed for her food. He fought the urge to collapse. Then, finally, it happened. Around 3 p.m., during the heavy lunch rush, she paused, wiped her forehead, reached for her bottle without looking, unscrewed it, lifted it. Igosa's heart stopped. She brought the bottle to her lips and drank. 1 gulp, 2. Then, the ground shook. The lanterns flickered violently. Customers gasped. A cold wind swept through the stall. Mama O's froze mid-breath. Her eyes widened. Her smile vanished. Her body stiffened. She dropped the bottle. Her hands clawed at her own throat. Her mouth opened in a silent scream, and then her entire body collapsed inward like paper burning. In a flash of blinding light, she disappeared. Gone. No sound. No trace. Nothing. Customers screamed, overturning chairs. Oh my God. She just vanished. What kind of woman was she? This is not human. People ran shouting, crying, dropping plates. Some swore the ground had whispered. Others said they heard the humming again. But Igosa stood still, breathing, alive, free. The curse had broken. The chaos that followed Mama O's disappearance was unlike anything Benin City had ever seen. People refused to pass through Igun Street at night. Mothers warned their children never to go near the stall. Drivers rolled up their windows whenever they passed it. The police came. They inspected the stall, the pots, the back room. They found nothing unusual, at least not by human standards. But they couldn't explain how a woman vanished in front of 60 eyewitnesses. And so, the case quietly died. But the effects of her food didn't vanish immediately. For 3 weeks, customers all over Benin City experienced the same thing. Food became tasteless. Meals that used to bring joy suddenly tasted like ash. People grew weak, irritable, restless. Restaurants remained empty. Mothers complained their children wouldn't eat. Husbands said they felt hollow. Even pets refused food. It was like the whole city was grieving. But slowly, the spell faded. Taste returned. People learned hunger again. And Benin City continued with life. Except for the stall. O's special remained closed. The door stayed shut. The back room stayed locked. The pots grew rusty. Nobody dared to touch anything. Igosa passed by the stall one evening on his way home from school. He paused at the same spot he used to stand while serving customers. The wind rustled the umbrella gently. A plastic chair leaned against the wall. Everything looked innocent, normal. Except, the air around it still felt heavier than the rest of the street. He swallowed hard. Then noticed something. A faint humming. Not from inside. Not from far away. But from behind the locked back door. He froze. The hairs on his neck rose. No. Impossible. She was gone. He had seen it. The humming grew louder. He stumbled backward. A voice whispered from inside. "Who is there?" Not the same voice from months ago. This time, it was her voice, Mama Ose. Soft, sweet, and hungry. His blood ran cold. He staggered away, heart pounding, breath shaking. As he fled, he glanced back. The light outside the stall flickered once, twice, before dying completely. Darkness swallowed the shed, but the humming followed him into the night. What did you get to learn from this story? Kindly drop your thoughts and questions below. Do well to hit the subscribe button to see more emotional and exciting stories like this on Afrotales by Siri.